Hello everyone, this is Dr. Namika, faculty at Galgodia College of Engineering and Technology. We are here to study electromagnetic field theory. Welcome back to the official channel of Abdul Kalam Technical University. In this lecture, we are studying electromagnetic field theory with subject code KEE 301. In the previous lecture, we have seen introduction to magnetostatics. In this lecture, we will see the application of Ampere's law. In the previous lecture, we have seen that there are two important laws applicable for magnetostat, that those are Biot-Savart law and Ampere's law. Among this, we have seen already the Biot-Savart law and its application in order to find electric field for various configuration. Now in this lecture, we will see the application of Ampere's law in order to find electric field for different configuration. Well, Ampere's law can be used to determine H for some symmetrical component, symmetrical current distribution, as we did in Gauss law. In electrostat, we have studied two laws, that is Coulomb's law and Gauss law. Apart from among those two laws, Coulomb's law can be used for any kind of configuration, any kind of charge configuration. However, Gauss law can be used to find electric field only for the symmetrical charge distribution. In the same way, here also in magnetostat, we are studying two laws, that is the Biot-Savart law and Ampere's law. But Ampere's law can be used, Ampere's law is having some limitation over Biot-Savart law. Biot-Savart law can be applicable in any kind of configuration, in any kind of current element, but Ampere's law can be used for symmetrical system only. So let us know what are the symmetrical system. Well, symmetrical system, some of the example of symmetrical system can be infinite line current, finite sheet of current, infinitely long coaxial transmission line, or solenoid or toroid. So according to Ampere's law states that whenever a current carrying conductor will be placed, then there will be a magnetic field in surrounding. Mathematically, we can express Ampere's law as H dot dl is equal to I enclosed, where dl is the small elementary length of Amperian path. So for symmetrical current distribution, H is either parallel or perpendicular to dl. dl is the small elementary part of Amperian path. When H is parallel to dl, then H will be constant. When direction of H will be perpendicular to the direction of length, that is on Amperian path, then the total H will be 0. Now we can use Ampere's law in order to find magnetic field for different kind of configuration. So first of all, we will see what will be the magnetic field intensity, that is H, due to infinite line current at a point. See, application of Biot-Savart law was little bit difficult. In comparison with the Biot-Savart law, Ampere's law are more easier. How? Here you can see in the previous lecture we have derived the same thing using Biot-Savart law, and there a lot of calculation was involved, but here you can see that one current carrying conductor, infinite line current, is placed here on z axis. Then the first step is to draw the Amperian path. Amperian path is the path where means we should draw Amperian path in such a way so that h at every point will be same. So we have drawn Amperian path like this. Now we know that according to Ampere's law, H dot dl over a closed path is equal to total charge total current enclosed. So H dot dl is the small elementary part of Amperian path. Okay. Now total current enclosed by this Amperian path is I, because this conductor is carrying current I. So now we know that to know the direction of H, magnetic field intensity, we need to use right hand thumb rule. So according to that, our thumb will point towards the direction of current, then our finger will give the direction of magnetic field. So if we place our thumb in this direction, then our finger is moving in counterclockwise, means in this here it will go downward, so it will be like this, and here it will come outside out of the pace, so we will denote it with the help of a point. Now this is the direction of H. So from here we can see that H is having the direction towards, if we consider cylindrical coordinate, then this direction is towards a phi. So we can write H as h phi a phi. Similarly, the Amperian path is also on xy plane, or it is moving forward in the direction of increasing phi. So we can write, if we will use cylindrical coordinate, if you can remember how to write arc in cylindrical coordinate, you will remember that this dl can be written as rho. Rho is the radius of this Amperian path, rho d phi. Phi is the azimuthal angle. If it is a smaller part, we can write it as a d phi. So dl can be written as rho d phi, but as dl is the vector quantity, we need to write the unit vector along with this. So direction of dl is towards a phi, so the direction unit vector with dl will also be a phi. Now here is the dot product a dot b is equal to a b cos theta. So here also it will be cos theta. Now as the direction is the same, so the theta value will be 0, cos theta value will be 1, so we can write it as h phi rho d phi only. So we have taken h phi as a constant and kept it outside of the integration, and under the integration we are left with rho d phi. So rho is also a constant quantity, because rho is nothing but the distance between point of interest where we need to find the magnetic field and current element. So this is the rho. It will be constant quantity, so we will take it outside, then it will be h phi rho d phi. is equal to total I enclosed is equal to I, so it is equal to I. Now after integrating this we will get h phi rho phi. Now we know that for cylindrical coordinate phi is varying between 0 to 2 pi, so we can write it as 2 0 to 2 pi. After integrating it we can get the value h phi rho into 2 pi minus 0 is equal to I. Further we can write it as h phi 2 pi rho is equal to I, or h can be obtained as I by 2 pi rho. Direction we already found with the help of right hand rule, so we will write, and we have seen that direction is a phi. So this is the h. In previous lecture also we have obtained magnetic field at a point due to infinite, due to first of all we have derived for general case, later we have seen the special cases, and in special cases we have seen the electric field due to semi-infinite current carrying conductor and infinite current carrying conductor. This is the case of infinite current conductor. We can see that both the result are same, but it is a far easier than applying Biot-Savart law in order to find electric field for a symmetrical infinite current carrying conductor. So it is very simple. First of all you need to draw a Amperian path, later you need to apply H dot dl is equal to I enclosed according to Ampere's law, then after simplifying you can get the value. Here you can directly find the value of dl also, as you can see that this Amperian path is in the form of circle, so dl is varying from here to complete the perimeter. So if you can find the value of perimeter also, then it will be the length, means integration, complete circular closed integral of dl. So closed integral of dl can be equal to perimeter of this circle which is having radius rho. So perimeter of circle with radius rho can be written as 2 pi rho. We know that the perimeter is equal to nothing but the 2 pi r. So 2 pi r. Here r is equal to rho. So we can write dl as 2 pi rho. So if this will be 2 pi rho, then we can write h multiplied by 2 pi rho is equal to I. This implies h is equal to I by 2 pi rho. Now this is the magnitude. In order to find the direction we will apply right hand thumb rule. So according to right hand thumb rule, where thumb will indicate towards the current and circle will give the value of magnetic field. So we can see that our circle is moving towards a phi, that is the increasing direction of azimuthal angle in case of cylindrical coordinates. So we will write here a phi. Now this is the complete H vector, that is magnetic field intensity vector, whose value is I by 2 pi rho a phi. This gives the direction, this gives the magnitude. This is giving direction. Well, now we will see other example. Now, how to apply the Ampere's law in order to find magnetic field intensity due to an infinite sheet of current. Well, here you can see that this is the sheet having surface current density as K, and the current is flowing towards y direction, so we can define it as K is equal to Ky Ay. Well, again, first of all we need to draw the Amperian path. For this, here we can see that Amperian path is drawn as 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the charged sheet. To cover all the charge, we have made a Amperian path as 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, according to Ampere's law, we know that H dot dl is equal to I enclosed, but here as we are using infinite sheet of current, means surface current distribution is given, so I enclosed will be KYB. B is this length is B, along which the current is flowing. So multiplication with this will give surface current density, multiplying with this B will give the current element. So total current I enclosed will be written as KYB. Further, if we will apply the right hand thumb rule in order to find the direction of magnetic field intensity, then it will be the direction is towards y axis, direction of current is towards y axis, then this thumb will give the direction of H. We can see that H is towards z axis, towards x axis, positive x axis and negative x axis, towards positive x axis and towards negative x axis, because current, it will be the direction of H will be like this. The direction of H will be like this. This area is B. This length is B. The direction of H will be like this. Positive H in this direction, negative H in this direction. As we are having 2H, so we have defined H as H naught Ax for Z is equal to greater than 0 and H is equal to minus H naught Ax for Z less than 0. We can see that this current sheet is kept on xy plane, and or alternatively we can say that the current sheet is placed on Z equal to 0 axis. So we have defined H as this. Now we will apply Ampere's law. Then we can see Ampere's law on this Amperian path. We have already defined the Amperian path also. Now as this path is not symmetrical, means it is having length as well as breadth, so we will apply Ampere's law individually for each side. So first of all, means in such type of cases, if all sides are not, means if it is not circle, if it is a rectangle or square or like this, then we need to integrate separately for each individual sides. As for example, our Amperian path is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have taken the integration separately for each side, that is from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 1 h dot dl. Now we will see and analyze h and dl for each side. As for example, from 1 to 2, we are going from 1 is here and 2 is here. Now in this direction h is 0, almost 0. Why? Because this is a very thin sheet and its thickness is almost negligible, so h in this direction will be 0. So we have taken 0. Later the dl in this direction from 1 to 2 is a, so we have taken, but going downward, that is in negative z direction, that's why we have taken minus a. Plus again we are moving from 2 to 3, so in this way we can see that the distance is minus b. Why minus b? Because we are moving in negative x direction, so we have taken negative b. However, h is also present there, but in negative direction, that is going in negative x axis, and here we have defined that for z less than 0 in downward side, my h is minus h naught x, so we will write here minus h naught. Again when we go from 3 to 4, again h will be 0 because of the negligible thickness in this side. In this way the value of h will be 0, almost 0. And further the side length is a, so we have written 0 here, and dl value is a. Further, if we will move from 4 to 1, then the total value of h in this side is h naught ax for z is greater than 0. So this point is lying on z is greater than 0 side. So our value of magnetic field intensity is h naught, and the distance from 4 to 1 is, that is the value of dl here will be b. After simplifying this, we are getting the value of 2 h naught b. Now this is the value of h dot dl left hand side. However, in right side we are having kyb. Again kyb is current flowing, so it can be so we will equate this as kyb. Now this b and this b will cancel out. For finally we will get the value of h naught as 1 by 2 k. H naught, the direction of h naught we have already got with the help of right hand thumb rule as ax, so we will write it ax. Further, as we have defined h as minus and plus, so we can write here also that the value of this will be for positive x direction, and this will be for negative x direction. Kax for this will be for z is greater than 0, and this will be for z is less than 0. So this is the final answer of magnetic field intensity due to infinite sheet of current. But we can write it in generalized way also, like h is equal to half k into an, where an is the unit normal vector directed from the current sheet to point of interest. So we can see that how easily we have found the value of magnetic field intensity due to a current carrying sheet. Similarly, we can apply Ampere's law in order to find magnetic field due to infinitely long coaxial transmission line. Long transmission line basically consists of two conductor, one is inserted in side the other. As for example, here you can see that there is a one conductor which is having minus I current, outer conductor, this shaded part is one conductor and this shaded part is another conductor. One is outer conductor and this is the inner conductor. Inner conductor is having radius A, however the outer conductor is having radius B, but outer conductor is having thickness also of T. So altogether the radius from here to here it is A, from here to here it is just B, and from here to this position is a C, or we can see that it is a T. Okay, so now in order to find the magnetic field we will apply Ampere's law, but here four kind of cases will arise that sometimes it may happen that our point of interest where we need to find the magnetic field will be inside this inner conductor. Sometimes it may possible that it will be in between these two conductor, or sometimes it may be possible that it will be outside of the outer conductor. So we can see that here four kind of a situation arises, that is for a reason when our rho is the distance between center to our point of interest where we want to find the value of a magnetic field. So if the point of interest will be in between 0 and A, then we will use an Amperian path which is shown here with the help of L1, this one. Similarly, if the point of interest will be in between A and B, then we will use Amperian path as L2. Similarly, if the point of interest will be in between A and this within this thickness T, then we will use this L3 as a Amperian path. Finally, if our point of interest will be outside this outer conductor, outside the coaxial transmission line, then we will use the Amperian path as L4. So how to apply that? So we know that according to Ampere's law, S dot dl is equal to total current enclosed within this, but as this is a solid coaxial transmission line, so we will use J is the current density and ds is the area. So we will use J dot ds in place of I enclosed. So we will apply Ampere's law for different path. As for example, we can use if our point of interest will be suppose at our first of all according to Ampere's law, H dot dl is equal to I enclosed. Okay, so for path 1, this is our L1. For L1, H will be equal to I enclosed, means if it will be inside the A, then suppose from here to here it is the suppose this is the point where we want to find the value of magnetic field, then suppose the distance between origin to this point is rho, then what will happen, the total current This equation is okay, but I enclosed will change. What will be the value of I enclosed? Total pi a square area, total pi a square area is having current I, then this pi rho square area will contain how much current? Well, it will contain I by pi a square multiplied by pi rho square. That means total current will be pi will cancel out, rho square by a square I. So here the total current enclosed will be, and total rho square by a square I. This is the total current enclosed by this point, up to this point rho. Now dl for this will be 2 pi rho. Dl at this point, this is at this length is rho. The value of this L1 will be equal to 2 pi rho. So we will write here 2 pi rho. One rho will cancel out, and finally we will get the value of H as rho I by 2 pi a square. This is equation 1. Similarly for L2, we can see that from L2 is at point B. So here total current enclosed is I. So for L2 we will apply H dot dl is equal to I enclosed. Here total enclosed charge, total current enclosed is equal to I only. Our point of interest is here, and for this point the total current enclosed is I. So we will write here I. H will be equal to H. dl is how much? Dl is 2 pi rho. So the total H at this for L2 will be equal to I by 2 pi rho. This is equation 2. This is equation 1. Similarly, now we will see for L3 is this one, which is in between the B and this thickness T. So for that again we will use the Ampere's law, that is H dot dl is equal to I enclosed, but here the total I enclosed will be equal to this much. See, this is the value of H dot dl. dl value is 2 pi rho. However, I enclosed total current flowing in this inner conductor is I. So this will remain as it is. Apart from this, the current flowing through this thickness, this part will also include. So we know that in this outer circuit minus I is flowing, but minus I is flowing through this total complete thickness, but we need to consider only this part, this shaded part only, because our Amperian path is in between this. So here you can see that J in this case is this much. Alternatively, if we will find it as, if we will take it as a C, then we can see that the area of this thickness value, that is pi rho square minus pi b square. We need to find the value of current flowing through this area. So total area pi c square minus pi b square is having area, total current I. So this area, this shaded part will contain I by pi c square minus b square multiplied by pi rho square minus b square. This pi will cancel out. Finally, I value will be I by c square minus b square. In top we will write rho square minus b square. Okay, so in place of I, this part we can write this one, and first inner I will be as it is. Finally, we can get the value of total I enclosed as this. This will be equal to, means this will be equal to h dl. Total value of dl will be 2 pi rho. So h value for this case will be equal to I by 2 pi rho 1 minus rho square minus b square by t square plus 2 bt. Alternatively, we can use this one. Here they have taken t, so I have used t, but alternatively if you will take this as a c, then you can use this one also. Now here finally this is for L4. L4 is the outer Amperian path, which is outside the outer part, where we can see that the total current enclosed is equal to 0, because in inner part the current flowing is minus I. However, for outer part it is a minus I. So total net current is equal to 0. So for outside of the coaxial transmission line, to value of magnetic field will be equal to 0. Finally, we can conclude for all the 4 cases that when rho will be less than a, that is if rho will be, if we need to find the value of h inside the inner conductor, then the value of h will be this, and if it our point of interest will locate in between a and b, then the magnetic field value will be this. Similarly, if it will be in between the outer conductor, then the magnetic field value will be this much, and finally for outside it will be 0. In graphical way we can represent it in this way, that is, this is the radius of inner conductor. Up to this we can see that the h is directly proportional to rho. H is directly proportional to rho. All other parts are the constant, and we can see that h is directly proportional to rho. However, for from a to b we can see that h is inversely proportional to rho, so the graph is drawn like this. Finally, for outer thickness, if the point of interest will be in outer conductor, then the h is varying non-linearly with respect to rho. So the direct it can be drawn like this. Finally, for outside it is a 0, so we have taken it as 0. So today we have seen the application of Ampere's law, that if our system will be symmetrical, if the current distribution will be symmetrical, then we can use Ampere's law in order to find magnetic field intensity. And if we will find the value of magnetic field intensity, we can use the relation, that is B is equal to mu H, where mu is the permeability, in order to find magnetic flux density. So it was all about the application of Ampere's law in today's lecture. So in next lecture we will see the magnetic forces. So till then, bye bye, take care.